Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's exciting webinar. It's beautiful here in Salt Lake City. Hopefully it's beautiful with wherever you are as well. We're really excited to get this chance every month to just touch base with our active accounts and talk through some points that hopefully will help you grow your business and just get to know each other a little bit better. By way of introduction, my name is Spencer Livingston. Oh, this is the best picture ever. I'm Spencer. I'm the sales manager here at On Demand Fulfillment. Happy to be here. I'm joined again, as I was last month, with our general manager, Mr. Daniel Lindsay himself. How's it going, Daniel?
It's good. I'm excited to be here as well, and hopefully we can share some good insight again. And well, yeah.
That's great. We have some really exciting things to talk about this week, so I want to go ahead and get started into the content. But before we do, I'd like to just do a quick review of just kind of what we talked about last month for those of you who were in attendance there. Really want to spend a little bit of time here because these are very important concepts that we're going to be building on with this week's webinar, and hopefully just giving you a nice roadmap to success as our clients begin to kind of start and build their supplement empires. Guys, we've seen some really amazing stories come through in the last month or so. We have really great accounts that are having great success with our program. So hopefully if you're not experiencing that same level of success, hopefully you're here to learn how to add these items to your business plan and really increase the results that you're getting with your dropship supplement brands. So last month, we discussed the importance of building a brand. We talked about how important it is to actually define and outline and really find that perfect customer. If you're trying to sell to everybody, then you're not going to sell to anybody. Define who that customer is. Daniel came up with a perfect example of Thrive Her Wellness. I joked with him that it was a carbon copy of his wife right now because she's just very busy and very, stressed with small children at home. So we talked about what the perfect supplement would be for that customer. We talked about putting together the perfect product that fits exactly the needs of that customer. We talked about designing labels and building your brand and creating that look and feel that's going to be attractive to that particular customer that you've clearly defined. And then we even threw in a nice brand starter kit at the end of the supplements of the webinar. So in case you missed it, I've actually been on it a couple times. You can actually go in, and we have posted, or we will post, a link to those previous webinars in the chat. But if you need help finding that, please reach out to your support representative at On Demand, and we'd be happy to put you in touch and help you find that. We also got a chance to meet Daniel. I put this slide up here because really we're gonna delve into Daniel's area of expertise again this week. But just as a reminder for those who maybe weren't on the podcast or that webinar and podcast last month, Daniel brings to the table over 12 years of experience building e-commerce businesses. He's very knowledgeable and experienced on platforms like Shopify, WooCommerce, Amazon, eBay, and sales funnels. So he's actually started and scaled multiple seven-figure businesses and e-commerce brands, and he's navigated successful exits on at least one of them. So he brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. He knows how to do it. He knows how to build a brand, and he's here to help us today. He's also currently consulting for multiple six-figure brands, and he has over 8 years of experience in just shipping and fulfillment. When you've seen go out of the warehouse, he's an expert out there as well. So he knows our business backwards and forwards. He was one of the original members of On Demand Fulfillment. He brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. So with that beautiful introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Daniel to talk about kind of what our points of emphasis are for today's webinar.
Yeah, well, thanks. Those are some big shoes to fill. So hopefully I can step into those and provide some value to everybody. One thing I want to mention is with the topics that we're going to be covering today, there's a lot of information that we could review. Right? There's hours and hours of content for each of these different topics. Marketing in general and social media is a very complex system, and it's always changing. And so I'm going to try to do my best to distill out a clear game plan. So what you can do initially right now, getting started, and to kind of get the ball rolling, because really what it comes down to is just getting things started and the consistency of getting it out there and getting over that fear oftentimes of actually getting started. So we're going to go over um, a lot of the platforms that we work with most commonly, and how that relates to kind of your strategy for marketing. We'll go over the first month kind of social media strategy for your brand, and then have a simple social media posting plan that you could continue over time. And then we'll have some time for some Q&A. And again, if the questions that come through are maybe on the more complex end, we'll do what we can to address some of those. Some of those other ones maybe on a separate call or topic, but we'll try to get a very clear path forward for everybody so that you can feel like you know what's going to come next for you and your brand. So jumping into it, we've got some e-commerce and different sales platforms. So there's really two types in my mind. There's the marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Walmart, and then most recently TikTok type of platforms where a different company owns it and they allow you to list your products on their platform. And every single sale that you have, they get a decent chunk of that. And so there's pros and cons to that, right? The pro is that they already have millions, if not hundreds of millions of users on their platforms, credit cards connected, and they can buy your product in a couple clicks. The downside is that it is extremely competitive because you have hundreds of million people on there, right? And there's tons of other brands on there, and it's oftentimes a race to the bottom on pricing because of that competition. And then one of the other cons is that you can't build out your brand identity the way that you can on your own platform, like on your own website, right? So you can have your own URL, like thriveforwellness.com, build out on Shopify or WooCommerce or Magento, or there's a lot of different platforms. But on your own website, you can control that fully. You can really choose the price that you sell your products for. You can use your marketing to build up the justification, I guess, behind the price and why it's worth that premium price point, and you control the customer's journey a lot more fully, right? So, but then the downside to your own website is no one's just going to go to your website unless you send them there, right? So you have to then look at how am I going to find people and get them to my website. So that's really the big, and then how we work with all these platforms is pretty much the same. Luckily on our systems, we can directly integrate with all those that are listed on here and all the top platforms that allow us to either receive your orders as soon as they're placed, process them, ship them, and tracking information goes back into your store. And it's pretty much 100% hands off for you guys, which is the goal, right? You can focus on growing in the marketing aspect and not have to deal with the back end warehouse portion of this business. So, but yeah.
So Daniel, I know we're going to probably talk about this a little bit, but this right here is it's a hot topic. When a brand new account calls me up and says, hey, we're looking to start a supplement line, and they're asking for recommendations, this is the pivotal moment, right? Which do you recommend? Do you recommend that a brand new client is just starting up? Do you recommend that they take advantage of one of the pre-made platforms, marketplaces, or do you recommend that they try to start off by themselves with their own website?
So if we would have had this conversation 10 to 15 years ago, then Amazon was amazing. You could just throw products on there and you'd pretty much get a lot of sales, and you just had to do some real basic things. Nowadays, it's a lot more competitive. Amazon's became really tight on regulations, especially around supplements, with ensuring that they're good quality because there's so much volume of sellers and buyers on there. There's been an issue with really poor quality product, and Amazon's trying to protect their consumers, right? And so they're regulating that much tighter. So it's harder and more expensive to get your products on Amazon. Plus, if you don't have experience on Amazon, you don't know how to run the PPC, you don't know how to create the perfect listings that's going to get ranking, you don't know how to get initial sales volume to really promote and get ranking up high on page 1 or 2, chances are if you just list on Amazon, it's a very low likelihood of getting many sales because it's just there's so many products and brands on Amazon. You're going to be on page 10 plus, which no one will hardly get to, unfortunately. Same goes for a lot of the Walmart, eBay, TikTok. They can work, and it's good to be on there, especially down the road, because people might go to their preferred platform and buy it from there. Even if they see you on, let's say they see a Facebook ad, they go to your website, but they've never heard of you before. They're like, well, let's see if this is a legitimate brand. They'll then often go to Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com and see, hey, are they on there? And if they are, they'll often buy from the platform that they trust and that they feel more comfortable buying from. And so you can sometimes get additional sales on these other platforms. So my suggestion typically, if you don't have those experiences and you don't feel like you have a really expert and clear plan on the marketplaces like Amazon and TikTok, build your own website out first, build your brand identity, revisit the webinar we had last month, make your brand and your website fit that perfectly. Do that first and make, Amazon a secondary plan a few months in once you get a few sales rolling.
Makes a lot of sense, man. And that's what a lot of people, using an Amazon or a different platform as maybe a phase 2 of their rollout of their business. You're right. It kind of, they almost bypass, that shock of like, well, I just thought throwing something on Amazon would just sell by itself, and then they get discouraged, and then they lose focus. So I think that's a key point. That's something that we deal with all the time with new clients.
Yeah, but it used to be a lot simpler, unfortunately, and now things are changing. There are always new platforms like TikTok. We've seen some amazing growth on there. But again, it's specific strategies of knowing how to work with lots of creators, getting them to push your products and promote it, and which is, you have to know what you're doing on there to make that work. And so, but yeah, awesome.
Well, I can tell you, like, if we evaluate our top accounts here at On Demand, like the majority of them are following exactly the pattern that you just mentioned. It takes a little more of an investment to get it off the ground. I compare it to like a freight train, right? It takes a little longer for that freight train to be going, but you're in full control of the train at all times. Once it's going, you have a much more solid, successful business model underneath you, as opposed to some of these, these listings that sometimes can pop. Sometimes somebody will jump on TikTok and boom, it takes off, but it's not as reliable, right? And who knows about even the whole platform, right? Where's the platform going to be in 6 months? Like nobody knows. So if your goal is to just toss some money and hope it blows up, that's great. But if your goal is to build a long-term, stable, profitable business, I think that's the model. I think you're exactly right.
And I think you brought up a good point with it being like a freight train has to build up momentum, right? So at one point, with some of my brands in the past, there's been days where I really ramped up marketing spend where we're $15,000, $20,000 a day in certain instances. And on those days, all the marketing was going directly to my custom built landing page and website. And that's where I should have been getting my sales from, right? And I did obviously get a lot of sales on that. But those same days that we had ramped up marketing spend on our main funnels, we saw huge increases of sales across eBay and Amazon at the same time. Which is further iterates that it's good to be on those platforms because it does be more widespread. And sometimes just because of how much traffic you're getting to your main website, your main funnels and whatnot, you can start ranking on other platforms just because your product is being searched so often, right? We've seen some guys on TikTok have so much volume on TikTok that a lot of people are new to TikTok and don't have their card already saved on file with TikTok Shop. They'd rather buy it from Amazon. And so we had guys that were doing maybe like 10,000 bottles a day on TikTok, but then they could also be doing 500 to 1,000 bottles a day on Amazon organically from people just searching it because they didn't want to buy for the client. Those customers didn't want to buy from TikTok. So lots of cool ways to do it. But yeah, it's a definitely common question. We're happy to help more on individual instances. If you guys have questions, reach out to Spencer and the team, and we can help you through that. But we better get rolling along here. We can talk, like I said, we can talk about this stuff all day. So we'll try to keep the ball rolling. The next step we want to kind of touch into is going to be revisiting back into what we talked about last month. So if you didn't have the chance to attend last month's webinar, definitely check out the link in the chat and save that for later to rewatch that and go through that process. Take the PDF handout that we had and go through the brand building walkthrough or process so that you can have a clear picture of who you're targeting, because everything after that becomes much easier. And that's what I explained last month was once you know that in and out, forward and backward, everything else like your marketing becomes so much clearer because you know exactly who you're trying to sell to, and you can create it from there. So what I mean by that is like when you're building out your website, you want to make sure you have certain listings and words that really convert because they match your customer, right? You know who that ideal target audience is, and you're using their language, you're using their pain points that they've expressed to you, whether you're just messaging them or talking to them. You understand it so fully that when they go to your product listings on your website, it continues to speak directly to them, not just a generic like, we supports adrenal health and supports this, and it's this really basic versus like really helps you feel less stress and more in control. And then you can touch more like during your busy days as a mom, like you can really use those specific examples, right? So we'll go through some further examples and start going through kind of a strategy of how this looks for your first month plan on social. So first you want to focus on choosing, I would say just one, but at the maximum two. So if you're going to do like Facebook, Instagram's really easy to just plug into that because they're the same company. They're both Meta, and you can post on both at the same time, right? But typically it's really focus on one platform and get really good at what you're doing there, because a common mistake is people spread themselves too thin. I need to make my TikTok content, I need to make Instagram, I need to make Pinterest, I need to make YouTube shorts, I need to be everywhere and anywhere, and that's not ideal. You want to find out where your customer is living, where they spend their time on social media, and target there. So for this example, we're going to choose Facebook and Instagram or Meta. And then you want to create a basic landing page that can just be like your product listing page on Shopify, but take the time to make it really clean, maybe create a custom template for that product page and really make it focused on the solution that your products provide, not the product. Again, people do not care that you sell the most premium grade, sea moss capsules in the world, harvested from the deep ocean of wherever. 99% of people don't care at all. They care that it solves your problem with this, this, and this, and helps you feel better here, here, and here. That's what they want to hear. That's what's going to trigger them emotionally, and that's what's going to make them actually click through and learn more about it and ultimately buy the product. So remember, focus on the solution, not the product. Your brand is a brand that solves this problem for these people. Your brand does not sell supplements exclusively.
So is that like the biggest mistake that you see brand new clients make typically on that first listing? Is they just they try to focus too much on like the specific quality and not enough on the actual impact that supplement has on
yeah, I think there's just so much noise in the marketing world right now, especially in the supplement health space. You're always getting thrown some health solution at you here and there, and if you're just real generic, like quality of this or product is manufactured this way and whatnot, those should just almost be just granted at this point. Like that should be bare minimum expectations in today's world of having top quality product. So you really need to differentiate by standing out, but again, standing out to your ideal client, your avatar, your person that your products are for, not trying to appeal to everybody. So taking that information, let's kind of roll that into what your first social media, content would look like. Keeping it simple is the key. Pick again one platform and one compelling offer that you want to offer, like a BOGO, so buy one get one free, or you could buy one get one 50% off, something like that. You could just do a straight percentage off discount. You could do a $10 off, a straight dollar amount off, free shipping. You want to have some sort of promotion to make them, it's just marketing to let them see like, oh, this isn't just normal standard pricing, like it's an offer they're currently doing. And then on that page you're going to connect that directly to your landing page or your product page. So here's an example of what that would look like. So if you're just doing a basic image, you just have a visual of like a mom or a mother on a couch around bedtime, the lighting is dimmer, has a bottle of the product near her, was sipping on her mug of tea, because the Deep Calm was our product, was like our kind of help with stress and feelings of anxiety and whatnot. So then the caption could read something, and this is just examples, right? You're going to know your audience better. You can make this tailored to them. But bedtime used to mean my mind finally had time to spiral, right? And like Spencer said, where my wife's at, it's fight or flight half the time, things that don't even make sense. Her mind's just going a million miles an hour and she can't control it. So I started taking her Deep Calm at night, and it's been a total shift. I'm falling asleep faster, wake up without that wired, tired feeling, no grogginess, no woo. I can just have calm clarity that I can actually feel. Then a little bit more information. And then the call to action at the bottom would be, get 15% off your first bottle. Here's the link, and there's the code for that discount that they're promoting. Again, it's simple, it's clean, it can look pretty natural, especially if the picture, I think we touch on this more in a minute, but if the actual images, sounds weird, and it's probably not what you're expecting. You want your product image, you want your posts and your ads to look kind of casual and not perfect quality. Honestly, especially Facebook rewards you if it looks like something that's just natural in the Facebook feed. When it's too professional, too perfect, you can tell you got like studio lighting in there and it's a perfectly edited image, Facebook doesn't like that. You're not going to have a good relevance score. It doesn't look good, organic, and you're not going to be shown to as many people. So keep it more natural and casual, and it actually makes your job a lot easier because you don't have to get a professional photographer to do it. Just pull out your iPhone and knock it out.
It's a really valuable point, man. Isn't it crazy how much the world of marketing has changed over the last just even 10 years, right? I don't think you could say that same thing 10 years ago, but it's almost like
Nope.
If it's authentic, if it feels like just somebody trying their best. I've noticed the same thing on TikTok, right? Some of the best, highest performing TikTok videos are just some dude with a video in his face, right? Like his car with his phone in his face. Like it's crazy how that's evolved from a marketing standpoint. That's what connects more to customers.
Yeah, and especially with the UGC. So UGC, for those that don't know, is user-generated content, where you can actually get, influencers, creators, or your own past customers that have loved your product to create reviews and content for you. Those are super, super powerful because these are people that typically, maybe the creators and influencers have more experience, but if you can get your just standard normal customer to jump on and just be like, hey, yeah, I really love this. Like, people can tell that they're not some actor or some fake professionally done, and that's what they want to see. It's been by far the highest performing ad creative that I've ever seen is user generated content. Sometimes it's like, did you use a flip phone from 2007 because the quality is so poor and those things just kill it on performance? It's just really weird, but you guys got to test a lot of different content, and that has worked for multiple brands. So keep that in mind. But let's see here. What do we got next? We got okay. So jumping into your second social media post, week 2. A good just an idea. Again, these are just kind of simple concepts. It could be a lot more complex. You could be doing all of this in 1 week if you really wanted to really push it, right? But just to have a very simple plan that anyone can follow. This is our goal, to kind of provide clear, a guide rails for what you can do. Is you're going to share your why and the authentic story behind your brand. So this builds connection. In our last month, we talked about understanding who you're helping, and how you're helping them, and all of those things. And hopefully a lot of these brands are going to be built out of a true need to help people with the products and help them find a solution to their products, and they want to share that story. So here is a example of that. We could have the visual be just a photo of the founder at a kitchen table packing boxes, or maybe working on laptop. And then the caption would say something like, it shouldn't be in English, but I started Thrive Her Wellness because I was tired of products that looked great on the outside but didn't actually make me feel any better. Our formulas are backed by real science, and every bottle is something I'd give to my family. I'd love for you to check us out and see if something we've built can support your journey too. And check out these 3 bestsellers and get free shipping today. And even better, do the same thing but make it a video, right? Founders at the table working, stop, just kind of talk to the camera. Tell their why story. And again, like we mentioned last time, the more casual, the better. It doesn't need to be professional. People like the real, raw, sometimes vulnerable stories that they can make them feel like, hey, this is a real person that I'm supporting, not just some big corporate brand that's got huge marketing budgets and is just trying to take my money. Huge key there. Okay, any other questions or comments, Spencer? Anything you got?
Well, I just think, some people, so let's say you're just not comfortable on camera, right? Let's say you want to start your business, but that's just not a skill set that you possess, that you're not really comfortable and you don't feel like you can be authentic. Well, like what are some of the alternative ways to still tell that story of your business without putting yourself on film, on a camera?
So you're saying how to not do it yourself. Yeah. So it can definitely be harder, right? Some people aren't comfortable with that. And if you aren't comfortable with that, that can be fine. You can still, what I've seen brands do semi-successfully is they almost create like a avatar for their marketing story, right? Of this is our person who we're building this brand for. And that's always the example person we give as far as like why we're doing this, is to help, my mom or my sister or somebody that that's in that situation. Yeah, and if you're not telling your story that way, it'd be more focused on, we really saw the need for a better solution to this. So many moms in my family and my friends were constantly struggling with this. They always seem stressed out and high stress because of these different X, Y, and Z. And so I really started digging into the research to figure that out. And this is what we discovered, and this is why we've brought to the market to help them and to help you. And so kind of do it from that angle instead of yourself. And you don't have to get in camera. It can be just pictures of the products or others, and captions of those stories. But I still think telling your why and make that why relate to, you truly want to solve these solutions, because you do have to want to solve these problems for the clients or the customers, and they'll feel that in your marketing and what you're doing.
But it sounds like you would counsel them against like throwing up a stock photo, or maybe just finding some picture of a person they wish they looked like and just be kind of inauthentic in telling their story. It sounds like that's not.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to be successful. It's pretty rare that I see successful marketing campaigns running stock photos. I don't know that I've seen that. Or they typically have their influencers that they're using constantly. They're past customers that they've pulled captions from, and they use their own audience eventually to tell. And that audience can be your friends, your family, your people right? You can go that route if you need to. So
Makes sense.
I just want to touch on this. So Jada asked a question of how do you figure out your ideal client? What steps should you take and develop that? So make sure in the first post in here by Nevada in the Q&A was the link to our past webinars. You should be able to link in there. And I can't recall if the link to the PDF is in there, but there was a PDF handout that walks you through this process of asking what questions to ask yourself, to research, to figure that out. So Jada, if you don't see it, okay, and another link was just dropped in directly to that planning kit PDF for you, Jada. So if anyone else wants it, it's also in there. Thanks for jumping on that, Nevada. We'll jump into the third post, your third week. This is just kind of getting more into standard, the habit of posting, right? Talking about your different products, you're introducing your next 2 or 3 key products. And if you're focusing on just one main product, maybe focus on all the different benefits, different angles, how they solve those different problems that people have. Keep in mind, videos are almost always going to get more interaction and views than just static images. People are more likely to listen to a 15 to 30-second video than go read a caption, right? People are very instant gratification or instant information nowadays. So you got to try to find ways to hijack their attention when they first see your video, and then show them that for a minute. And then really the thing we want to focus on here is consistency beats perfection. You're not going to have a perfect ad out of the gate, probably in your first month or 2 even, that's going to instantly get tons of views and tons of comments and tons of likes and get you a ton of sales. It takes time and compounds of saying, okay, people really liked when I talked about this perspective of the problem that they're facing. And then they really liked this angle of talking about this. And then this type of video style seemed to really get a lot of interaction. So let's combine all those into, now we have an idea for these types of posts, get that interaction we want, and build upon that. And again, action over perfection is way more important. It's just you don't want to wait for everything to be flawless. And that can just look like even using sometimes getting posts out there that are consistent, telling your story, and having a plan to start introducing those products. Yeah, I think we can go into the summary. Spencer, did I miss anything that we wanted to touch on or cover?
I don't think you missed anything at all. I think we went over some really great stuff. I'm glad we got it all recorded, because I definitely encourage you in attendance to go back and really study some of these principles. But just to summarize really quick, we just talked about putting together a simple marketing plan as you're building your new brands. We've talked about the different platforms that are out there, the different marketplaces compared to your own type of platform that you're building, your own website or your own Shopify store. We talked about how to write products, how to write listings that will be effective, that will actually sell your products. We built a 3-week beginner social media content plan, and we're just really focused on consistency, connection, and clarity over perfection. This is such helpful information, and I think it really does highlight one of the strengths of the on-demand dropship program. One thing that jumps out at me as I have brand new accounts come on and watch them really take off is, it just is incredible to me how much work they put into building their brand. Like every single time I'm like, wow, there's a lot more going into this than I would have thought initially. And I can't even imagine the fact that on-demand will cover everything logistically. That's literally what we bring to the table, which what that does is it really frees up our clients to focus on exactly this, Daniel, like exactly, because there's so much. And for a client that comes in and doesn't feel like they really need to do the work here, or can kind of short track that, like they rarely succeed in that mindset. And also, I just imagine a client who would have to try to handle logistics themselves in addition to doing all this, like it's just going to break. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I can speak to that directly. I mean, I'd gone part-time on my day job to work on my side business. I was living in my basement, my brother's basement, while married. My very wonderful, patient wife allowed that to happen because I felt like it was what I needed to do. And I had my first success in e-commerce. When those choker necklaces came back for a single summer, I did multiple 6 figures of choker necklaces and I ship them out of my brother's basement one by one in these little bubble mailers, right? And I can tell you, I spent way more time focused on those types of things versus other aspects of the business that would have helped continue that growth into maybe other products that are new and trending in the industry versus just riding that one little wave and then it fell off and I lost all momentum, right? So there's definitely a lot of better things you can use your time for as the brand owner. Focus on serving your audience. One thing we mentioned, what we actually talked about when we were planning this yesterday that I didn't touch on was, just remember, you don't always have to be talking about your products or even your solution. I mean, let me take that back. Your solutions don't always have to be through your products. You could use, ebooks or a little video how-to, like natural home, meditation methods or whatever. Or if you're in the sports nutrition or fitness side more, you can have free workouts you're giving people. You want to just focus on providing value versus just promoting your product. So keep that in mind. That all comes back to like your brand solves this for these people, and that doesn't have to be just through your products. What else can you do to help them really accomplish that and serve your audience? And it's going to pay dividends in the long run. It's not an instant process. Some of the mentors I've had in the past, have made it real clear, like it's to build a proper brand that's going to be here for the long run. It's typically a 8 to 12 month process to slowly build up the momentum, build up that audience, build up that consistency to where you're tracking like $1 million business annually. So
wow, that's amazing, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing this and putting all this information together in this format. I feel like if our clients, just take the time to go through this and bring their business models in line with what's kind of being taught here, I think they'll see the success that everybody's looking for. So thanks for putting that together. I don't really think we have too many questions.
Only thing, so if anyone has any other Q&As, we can talk about the next couple of things, but now's the time to maybe jump in and stick some questions in there. We'll let them I think we'll circle back to this maybe, Spencer.
Good idea.
And so if anyone has questions, drop them in the Q&A section. And then our wonderful marketing team also created another PDF kind of workbook guide for you guys. And it's going to be turning your brand into sales planning kit. It talks about what we did and even more than what I even talked about, how to plan out your initial marketing posts and content. And if Nevada, if you could also drop that in for this link, for this PDF, that'd be awesome. We'll make sure it's included on the follow-up email for all the attendees as well. So thank you again, marketing team, for that.
It looks like she already added it on there, and that's free for everybody who attended the webinar today. So please feel free to jump in and download that. We do have a quick question, Dana, before we get into some exciting announcements on new products. Can ODF connect to a store built in Go High Level?
Some GLH or GHL. I've used High Level before. I believe High Level and ShipStation requires an API connection. I'm just searching really quick. Yeah, it is an API connection. So there might just be an additional cost where you'd essentially have to create your own ShipStation account, connect it into there on your end, and we can then link your ShipStation to our ShipStation through a feature that they support. And that's just due to security. We can't share our direct API keys with clients because if you get the right programmer, they could pull all of our data. So yes, long story, Ty, yes, we can connect to High Level. If you just reach out to support, we can provide more details on how that looks.
That's a shout out to Ty and our friends north of the border up there. Be safe up there. And Ty's actually been to our facility before, so he's a good friend. Thanks for attending today, Ty. Yeah. And then do you have any recommendations on payment processors? This might be something we're going to be talking about here in some upcoming webinars. But George has this question about.
Yeah, we do have a payment processor that we use, so they're very familiar with our business model, and we just have had several of our clients get approved with them recently for processing. So if you want to email support, I will make sure that just support@ondemandfulfillment.com. We can then make that intro to the processor, and we can get that information to you. I'm trying to remember. It's not the one. It's Revit Pay is the company we currently work with, and they've been great for us. Really no issues on our side at all, and some great percentage. Sometimes a lot of processors, as you're probably experiencing, George, is they don't like supplements because this industry has been so abused by scammers and stuff in the past, and so they kind of oftentimes just wash their hands of it. But these guys have been solid to work with us and make that happen. So
awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, next up, Oh,
we did
go
get
ahead.
one more question from George. This is a good one. Just providing, do we provide support documentation such as certificates of analysis or CFAs, GMP certification, etc.? Yes. We do have CFAs on every single one of our products from our manufacturer. Our warehouse and our manufacturer and our warehouses are all GMP certified, and so everything there is good, and we can provide that as well. But sorry, Spencer. Spencer's got some exciting news on.
You stole my thunder there a little bit, but
product.
we're going to get it back. So we're going to have a big drum roll here. We actually, is exciting enough. We have some brand new products that we're adding to on-demand dropship. First up, creatine. After long request and demand, we're actually going to be rolling out some creatine it's available for dropship in a bin that looks like what you see right here. This is one of our most requested product that we get, especially from people in the health sports and nutrition kind of category. I'm actually really excited. I take creatine every single day before my workouts, but my wife is into hormones and the studies that have come out recently just around the cognitive benefits of creatine and with your memory and your focus. Very, very exciting stuff. So our creatine is some of the best product you can buy, now available to be added to your dropship. So please reach out to your account executive if you'd like to start to create labels for this product and add it to your arsenal of dropship products. So really, really excited about that. Is that in stock right now, Daniel? Can we be shipping it?
Yeah, we've got a couple hundred bottles in stock right now. It's this size of bottle right here, so everyone can kind of see visually. It is a larger size, same as our BCAA powders and night pre-workout powders. And we have carried it in the past, and I am excited for this kind of new revitalization of creatine in the industry. You've seen it kind of, at least I've seen it a lot more being promoted for, like you mentioned, the cognitive function, memory, and things outside of just like muscle size. Like that pretty much used to be all it was, and there's been found recently a lot more benefits to that. So if you were unaware of that and you think it's something that might fit, go dive in and see what additional benefits creatine has and see if it fits your model. So, and then it's a 300-gram container tie of creatine, and we can provide that label template so you can see what that looks like in more depth. So
reach out. We actually will have some more information on this, but we just want to give a preview to those who are taking time out of their day to join us in a webinar today. And then in addition to our creatine powder, we also have, I'm excited about this one, our new diet drops, our amino diet drops. This product is actually a really great seller for us already. This one hits close to home for me as well. We have some great customers who are doing some big business with our diet drops. In case you're not aware, there's a big craze out there in the world of weight loss. I've actually had some experience with this. I do some weight loss injections. I'm coming up on my 50th pound I'm trying to lose here. So you wouldn't even recognize me 50 pounds ago. But what I've noticed is that these diet drops out there, it feels to me like they actually mimic a little bit some of the ways that they suppress your appetite that is kind of going along with this injection craze weight loss that's out there right now with Ozempic and things like that. So it's logical to me why there's such a big push for people to push these amino drops. It's almost as if you get some of the similar benefits in a drop form that people who don't want to do injections or anything like that are experiencing that, but it definitely suppresses your appetite and gives great results. So really excited about this new formulation of diet drops that we're going to be do we have these available right now, Daniel?
Yep. There'll be an email going out for both of these this afternoon, I believe. I'll double check with marketing, but that should be going out this afternoon with the details, links to the label templates if you want to offer them, kind of the plans there. And just to clarify what you said initially, you said it's already been a great seller. So basically what happened, we had for those who have been around for a while, we did have another version of this for the last 7 or 8 years, but about Q3 of last year, it got discontinued by our manufacturer. And so this is a complete reformulation with new ingredients, more shelf stability. It's a lot better taste. I don't know if you taste the old one versus this one's way better tasting. Super sweet on this one, but it's been in the lemony flavor. So yeah, we're excited for this one. In the past, our diet drops have always been a very, very big mover, and we hope to bring it back with this new formulation and go from there. So.
Absolutely. It's a great way to kind of bring in some of that excitement around the weight loss supplements into your lineup, and it's a really great way to do it. My wife, I told a lot of my accounts many times that my wife's a nurse practitioner and she sells weight loss at her clinic, and it's a very, very huge business for them. And she was extremely excited when I told her that this new diet drop is coming out, because she feels like it's a good alternative for people who don't like to do injections. So
a little bit hesitant about the more extreme routes and stuff.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
More natural, less extreme, exactly. But benefits are the same way. And I've taken it myself, and I can tell you, it feels the same to me. It feels like, it's that drop you take in the middle, late at night, right when you want that bowl of ice cream, right? You just pop a drop and you're like, oh, magically that desire goes away. It's a fantastic product. So make sure you look into that. We can send you over additional information as needed. Just reach out to your sales rep and we can get it done.
Sweet. Okay. And then let's just give them a quick teaser of next month's webinar.
Absolutely. So we're going to continue to kind of build on this model that we've been creating over the last couple of months. And next month, we're going to address, what is the best way to invest our marketing dollars. It's really tricky, especially when you're starting to get in. If you're not careful, you can end up spending a lot of money in marketing and get great little warm and fuzzies from the marketing firm that you're working with and have zero sales results, right? So we want to make sure that we talk through this concept. We're going to draw on Daniel's expertise a little bit, but we're also going to reach out to maybe some third-party representatives, maybe have some people come in and promote their programs, and really give you some resources that you can use to make sure that you're investing, getting the best ROI you can possibly get out of your marketing investment. So we're going to talk about where to start. We're going to talk about where not to go. We don't want to waste your money. Again, kind of focused on that startup client, which seems to be a big chunk of our active clients right now. If you just have a minimal amount, $500 to $1,000, what's the best way to start there? And also just give you some other tools and give you some real examples. So really excited about that. That one's actually we're going to break our tradition of being the first Friday of every month. Next Friday in July is actually the 4th of July. So we're going to bump that up and do a webinar right before we all go and celebrate our country's independence. So stay tuned
on
for that.
Thursday. It'll be the July 3rd. Is that what you're saying?
Thursday, July 3rd next month.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get you information out there. We just want to tease it to those of you who made time for us on the webinar today.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for your time on here. For those of you who aren't currently working with us and you want to work with us, the process is pretty simple. Just reach out to sales at ondemandfulfillment.com. That's going to be Spencer and his team. They'll provide you any other information you need, answer your questions, and then we have a fulfillment agreement, a setup fee, and transition you to the onboarding team to get it rolling. For the clients that are really excited and ready to go, a 2 to 3 week full onboarding setup, ready to go time is not unrealistic at all. We can definitely make that happen for those that are ready to and excited to get selling with us. And, again, thanks for your time and attendance. Hopefully I see a lot of familiar names on the attendee list right now. And so hopefully those existing clients are also learning some information that can help them expand to new avenues of sales and platforms. And yeah, appreciate your time here and your business and wish you guys the best.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time today.